Right. Good afternoon. This is a day trading recap for Wednesday, April 13th. So I traded a bunch of tickers today, about 5 different stocks. Up and down, pretty much all day. I think today was just like all the other days the past few days. Green, red, back to green, back to red. Well, no, here you can see how small green, then a small red, then small green, and then small red again. Back to green. Wait, one more time. Red, back to green, finishing at the all-time highs on the day. So I think I'm going to call it here. I definitely have been over trading. I think that was my main problem today. I over traded. And I took a lot of unnecessary losses just because I guess I've been suffering from a little bit of FOMO lately. I've just been, getting in just in case it runs instead of waiting for the setup. And if the setup's not there or the setup is there, I'm sizing into it, but then I'm taking it off too quick, and I'm cutting my winners too short, and I'm letting my losers and I'm sizing into my losers a little bit. So that's why I have these big, I'm giving back all of my profits instead of, having a small, giving back small profits over time. Instead of that, I'm having huge drops in my P&L. I think that's my problem. But let's start with going over these stocks that I traded. So I didn't trade anything until 8 o'clock. So at 7 a.m. there was pretty much nothing. Oh, by the way, I'm finishing today up $21.13. So I started trading Bctx this morning. So let's go to Bctx and check out what we got. Bctx. So Bctx this morning, this is the one that I had a quick profit on. I started the day up with a nice base hit, 1% gain. So I added here at 12:11 for this 1 minute candle red to green for a potential breakout, which we did see. And I added at 12:24 that breakout, and I took it off at 12:60 was my best fill. It looks like I got shaken out a little bit at 12:15 and 12:16, and then it finally went, and I got a nice fill on it. But if I would have held those other two shares, so if I would have held the other 50 shares that I had, I would had a nice green trade there. So at 12:11, 12:20, so let's say my average was 12:15. That would have been a nice 3-4% win. That would have been solid if I didn't get shaken out before that breakout. That's another example of just me being a little bit too fearful of getting flushed on. I think maybe that has to do with my increase in share size. I think I'm right at my the edge of my comfort zone with this current share size. With 75 shares at $12.30, that puts me at roughly $12.30 times 75. It puts me at $922 position size. Actually, not that big, but that was actually a quite smaller trade than I've taken some big size trades today. I'll show you when we get there. Here I had a backside trade for the break of the 9 EMA. Quick scalp there. Here I was sizing into this for the break of the VWAP. I thought this was going to be the mover because nothing else was moving, and this was the only stock kind of getting volume. Looks like the volume wasn't even that much. It was only 400 to 300,000 right at the open. I really want to see something like 1 million to 1.5 to 2 million per 1 minute for me to see a potential move off the lows. So I was sizing in, kind of chasing it up here at 11.14 and adding at 11.12 for a micro pullback and then a break through that VWAP. and huge flush candle. I immediately closed it. I was in, so 150, so I was in double, almost double. So I was about in 18, maybe about $1,600. So definitely at the edge of my comfort zone there, and took a nice sizable loss. And you know, when you have trades like this, when you're on bigger size, it does kind of influence how you trade, at least for me, because it kind of messes with your confidence a little bit. I always kind of like a little bit nervous you might get flushed on again, and so you're reluctant to take bigger share size, or you're reluctant to hold for the move to develop and for it to break out and make a run for a friend side. And yeah, so anything, you know, that happens like this, it kind of ruins my confidence a little bit. But I was able to manage my risk, you know, and in the end, it's only maybe a 27 cent loss. So it's not terrible, about 2%, 3%. So really very small percent gain, but you know, just by looking at the chart and in the experience of how it happened, it was just an immediate flush on this stock. And it does kind of ruin my confidence moving forward. Then we traded ATER. ATER is the other stock. This one, wow, had a huge backside. Wow. If you were short on that stock, you were up nicely. Here, ATER, I saw at the open and was trying to scalp for the break of this downward trend. Here you can see, yeah, so looking for the break of this downward trend, or potentially looking at for the retest of 5.4 and up to the highs. Here was in a little bit too early. Still needed to pull back a little bit. But that didn't stop me from chasing it, and you know, had a false break out there, added at 518 for a potential final run, and you know, adding at 520, and that was the break-even trade. Actually, no, I was a loss. I took a loss there actually at 514 because I added at 520. So then I took a trade off the VWAP and got a couple cents. Here had a flush back down through the VWAP, and then it was kind of off my radar until it popped up, and I was watching it here. It took a starter at the break of this pivot, but I was in a little bit late actually. It looks like 543, and then I added at 533, 538. Look at how many shares I took there. That's 1,500. Maybe that's like 2,000 position size. I was super aggressive. And I was very confident in this, I guess. And I started had to manage my risk. I was just in too much, and it was just taking too long to run. And I had to manage my risk. And even though the setup was still valid, you know, a micro pullback, a break through the pivot point for a potential retest of the pre-market high, that was the setup, and it was still valid. And it was only in a 1-minute pullback. And it was, I felt like I had to manage my risk, because if it did flush, in any chance if it flushed, like if I got out for 3% loss on a 2,000, what was that, 2,000? I was in, looks like I was in 420 times 540, 2268 position size, taking a potential, let's say, 3% loss. It's a $68 loss. That really puts me right at max loss. And I had to manage my risk. I had to start closing it out around break even if I could. And that's what I did here. And then I added back that 200 plus more, chasing it into this breakout. And then I took off into 548, 546, 544. And that was actually a nice profit. I'm up $20 on that stock, so I had to have done pretty good on that. And then here, pull back to the 9 EMA. That was a break-even trade. Here, at this point, I was looking for the break of the, at that point, I was So it broke over the pre-market high. We had the multi-day support, so that's why I was confident for breaking this pre-market high here, because he had multi-day support and multi-day volume coming in. And so we had the break of the pre-market high. We had to break at a pre-market high. And then after that, now I was looking for the break of this trend line. Let's zoom out a little bit. So you see how you have this upward sloping resistance line. That's what I was looking for to break. And we did end up seeing that. However, at the time it was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I had some errands to run. I had things to do. And I chased it into this level, 577, scalped it a little bit. 1 minute pullback, tried to scalp the 1 minute pullback. Bounced off the 9 EMA. This one closed this one for a scratch. 580, it pounced all the way back up to 580. It was adding pretty aggressively into the breakout of this previous high, and we did end up seeing a surge. So I did get 7 cents on that stock, on that trade there. And then I went to the gym, did some errands, and I missed this 12% front side move. And that was ATER, finishing up on that stock $20. So that's pretty solid. You know, there's definitely good opportunity on it. I think I was just a little bit too patient on this. You know, when I see a potential move back to the highs, I need to put in my starter a little bit earlier and then hold it instead of taking it off. I need to learn to hold my shares until the resolution of the pattern, because I find myself selling before any sort of breakout or any sort of red to green. I'm very quick to take my profits, and that's what's hurting me, because you know, then when I take my next loss, I'm pretty much giving back the profit that I made. I could have potentially, you know, I'm taking my profit off like 1-to-1 risk reward instead of a potential 2-to-3 risk reward. And then when I take that one R loss, I pretty much just give back the profit. And that's kind of what I had today. And that's why my P&L curve today was very choppy, because I kept giving back, kept taking profits too early and then taking my loss and giving back my profit. So see, like here, you know, I added at 543 and I was a little late. I saw it here, you know, I saw it could be potential move, and I just hesitated a little bit too late to get into that. And, you know, I probably could have gone in a little bit earlier and then held it for the break of the pre-market high. So the pre-market high was 548, I remember. So I got into 543. It was under the pre-market high. Right on this pullback here, I should have been sizing in more aggressive, which I did. No, I did. I can't say more aggressive. I sized in very aggressively, but I sold before the resolution of the pattern. And that's what, you know, kind of screws with my head, because now I'm adding back even more aggressive at an even higher price when I could have just held those shares 10 cents earlier. And then here I sold off into that breakout level. So that was a really good trade, actually. But something like this, we're looking at the break of that trend line. If that's my thesis, you know, I don't want to be selling for a 1 cent or a 2 cent win here. I want to be accumulating right under this level in the 70s, adding off that 9 EMA right here. Perfect. This is beautiful right here. And then you sell into the push through 5.8, and then maybe getting 5.85, and then holding a couple shares and see if it can get a nice front side and hold a front, like an upward trend. But as you can see, you know, I was selling before that that breakout. Like this is, for example, 575 here, selling at 579. You know, it had more to go. We did get that false breakout here, so that could have been an indicator to take off my profit. However, it did hold the 9 EMA, and so that's a great trade right there. If you would have got that bounce off that 9 EMA and it held for that move, that's a 3 or 4% win. What else did we trade here? CRTD. CRTD was that other stock that I traded. This one was pretty crazy. I found myself chasing this one. So here, for example, 1 minute red to green candle, micro pullback kind of front side, and I was adding for the break of 132. We got 1 cent on that one, another 2 cents on this sell, but there was still a lot more to go. I could have got another 5% or so if I would have held for, until I saw something that showed that it was going to enter a backside. And then here we had a nice little bull flag bounce off the 9 EMA into VWAP. See, for example, here I'm selling way too soon. I got 2 cents there. I was in nice share size. If I would have held, I could have got another maybe 5 or 6 cents on 600 shares, and that could have been a $36 profit right there. And then here, the 9 EMA caught up with the bull flag, and then it pushed it into the break of 1.5, and it's getting very aggressive here. 1.45, 1.53. I actually added after the break of 1.5, which I wanted to get in before. I was a little too late. And then I sold all up in 1.53, 1.58, 1.51. I should have been selling maybe 200 by 200 share increments instead of 100 because I wasn't getting, all of them weren't good fills. I got 148, 149. I could have got more up at the higher end of this wick. But I think, at that point, I made back all the loss that I had on Bctx. Bctx, I had a big loss right at the open off the rejection off that VWAP, like I reviewed earlier. And then CRTD, I was able to make back all the profit that I lost on that. So thank God CRTD popped up. And then here, kind of just scalping the range here, maybe thinking that we get a bounce off this previous resistance point, and then looking for a move back for a front side. However, it was just so extended that, it was likely, and it did happen, that we got that nice pullback. Like a nice significant pullback. Significant as in 15%. And here, I tried scalping the bottom of this 142, trying to get off VWAP. Got a couple cents there. Took a loss there. Looks like I got a nice win there. Well, I added 400 at 139. I was able to get some sales at 142, 139 for a break even. Added 400 again at 1.4. This is when I thought we were going to get that reclaim of the VWAP, but it just got stuffed. And I just took it off break even because I knew we were going to get more backside. Because it showed strength here. The wick dipped down and immediately recovered back to that VWAP. However, you could just see the seller just counteracted that on the tape, and it just held it right under the 9 EMA. And I didn't want to get onto it unless I really saw high volume breaking into the 9 EMA and looking for that and that VWAP and breaking the VWAP and 9 EMA back towards the front side. And then here did another bottom bounce, small 1 cent, pretty much a scratch. And then you did get a nice retracement back to the high. Then we have VERU, VERU, which had a beautiful day today. Back to the high. Squeezed out all those short sellers. That was a beautiful, I wish I would have focused on this more. Let's take a look at it a little closer. Here, I kind of just slept on this. I didn't trade any of this until I saw it up in here. Here I traded, it's break even. Was thinking maybe we would see a push off this flat, break through this flat top, and there was resistance at 12, so I thought we'd break the flat top and break through 12. That's why I was getting kind of aggressive and getting a little antsy, especially on this pullback here. However, it had a topping tail, so I sold it at pretty much break even, high or low. So I was getting more aggressive here at 100. Ooh, that's maybe about a $1,500, $1,600 position size. At 86, back over to 9 EMA. I was getting super aggressive, thinking we'd finally see that breakthrough 12, and rejected. But I was able to take, once it rejected, I was able to take half of it off right under 12. I was holding the rest of the position size in case it did break over 12, but I sold that actually for a loss. If I would have took it all off at 95, I actually would have had a nice win. But if we did break through 12 and you had a nice blow off top up to 13 and 14, then I would have been pretty disappointed. I would be holding the full size. Let's just look at the volume here. I'm going into 12. See, the volume, I guess, isn't. I wanted to see like an all-time high volume at all day highs for the breakthrough 12. But the volume was decreasing. And then here, I thought this would, this was the last chance. So I was like getting in kind of small size with my starter at 88, looking finally for that breakthrough 12, and it just rejected. Then here you finally got that huge candle. I chased this into 1194. Took off way too early there. Still took it off way too early. That's another example of I have my thesis, that breakthrough 12, and this was a clear sign, fresh new volume, all day highs at the volume at the all day highs, and it's a high conviction trade. There's a high probability that they're going to get a panic through that resistance point, because anyone who's a short on this range here or on this pop here, they need to cover. They have to cover. Their stops are right around that 95 level, 99, $12, $12.05. So it makes sense. It's a high conviction trade for me, especially with this high volume and this strong wick. And this candle didn't even break 12, so I had time to get in, which I did. I took advantage of that time, but I closed that one a little early, added it back a little bit higher than I sold it at, because I had a little bit of FOMO. Finally got that breakthrough 12, but I didn't hold. I only held maybe half of that position. I sold it again too soon. So that's another example of, I have my thesis, but I don't know, I'm just like too antsy to take my profit, and I'm not letting the chart develop. And that's what's hurting my profit on the day. That's why I've been having these very choppy days. And then back towards the end of the day, I came back, wanted to trade this end of day. Saw in a front side, I thought we could break that yesterday's high at the pre-market at 1535. That was the target I was looking at, 1535. Here we saw a nice ABCD pattern. I was looking for the break of 14.5, and we didn't get that until after hours, which I usually don't do after hours trading, but I guess today warranted that. And I was looking for that breakthrough 5.5. I was adding in sort of aggressively here, took some off, I think. It looks like it. Added more off 1537. Now that I'm looking at it, that I needed to wait for the consolidation and for the 9 EMA to catch up with the bull flag. And right when I caught up, it pushed it right through that flat top, and that's when I should have been getting aggressive, not in here. I had a little bit of too much FOMO in here, and this is where I gave back a lot of profits, and was back to right on the day. I went from, I was up 13 or 15, and after hours, and I gave it back, and then I was like, all right, now you know, I got to wait for a setup if I want to get back to green. And, you know, I probably should have just hung it up, but I did find another setup. I'll show you. See, 1 cent there. At this point, I was looking for, well, we got that breakthrough, that pre-market, the previous day's pre-market high. Got to break through this flat top. And so now I am looking for continuation, potential continuation through 16. So here, small loss, but I was still holding 50 shares. Still holding 50 shares there. Added 25, sold. I was all over the place. I don't even know what's going on here. Here, a scalp for a break of $16. Where was my big trade? I can't. This is a mess. This is a mess. You know what? I wouldn't even want to watch my own trading recap because this is a complete mess. I don't know. I can't read all this. 50 at the 20-cent loss. 1543. I don't know. I had a nice sell there. I think on this candle, these two candles, I made my money back, and I finished the day up $21. So that's it. Did some range scalps in here. Oh, I actually had a nice trade here. Bounce off. I saw this wick. I saw a lot of buyers coming in here, and then I closed actually another example. Closed some break even. Finally saw that pop, and I was on half that share size, but I still got almost 20 cents on that, about 15 cents. So that's pretty solid. And then here we got that second low, and saw buyers coming in, adding, looking for that breakthrough 1580, and you know, I sold some too soon, and then I chased it. I remember adding back at 77. So finally looked through that breakthrough 80, but then it pulled back too much, and then I stopped out. And so that's another example of me, you know, having a hypothesis or a trade idea, taking it, but then taking my profit too soon and not letting the trade develop. You know, I was adding here at 565. It's my entry, 565. 559, 1559, 1560, 1570, and you know, I didn't take it off in the high 70s or the 80s. I took some off a little bit too early. 1561, 1559, 57. I think VERU could be a potential swing overnight. However, I don't swing stocks. I don't like to swing stocks because there's a good chance, you know, I could also wake up tomorrow and this thing could be back down to 12. But it is on new highs, so not all-time highs, but recent highs. I don't know. Can this thing go all the way back to 24? I don't know. That would be quite insane if it did. All right, I think I'm going to call it there. If you're still watching, goddamn, you must really like me talking to myself because this was just a jumbled mess. I had 318 orders. I think TOS is going to call me up and start charging me some money per trade because I just took a lot of trades today, and I definitely overtraded. Didn't really need to go through any of this. I didn't need to go through any of this. I probably could have just walked away. I would have been happy if I walked away at $10 and just, you know, traded for 30 minutes. But it is what it is. I'm getting some experience under my belt. Another green day. At least it's not a huge red day. And, you know, my drawdown. I got my drawdown over, so here's my calendar. So even though it doesn't feel like these are green days, these are green days. So I'm pretty happy about that. I've had very stressful days since Friday. Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday have just been very stressful. I just keep, you know, having wins and then giving it all back, having wins and giving it all back, having wins and giving it all back. here on Tuesday, I did that. Let's go through it again. So Wednesday, very choppy. Let's look at Tuesday, choppy. Monday, super choppy. Friday, choppy again. That was a red day. I like these days. I haven't had these days in a while. You know, just green and just getting more green and more green and more green. Just the past 4 days has been in chop. And it's very stressful. But thank God I'm ending green. And my drawdown is now at only minus $9.50. So that's a success. You know, I'm staying at my account highs, and that's very important. I'm not having a significant, huge multi-day recovery, multi-week recovery drawdowns. I'm staying within, you know, a 10% drawdown, a 15% drawdown at worst. And that's what's keeping me making new highs in my account. So hopefully we get some better action tomorrow. Friday, there's no trading. So hopefully I finish strong tomorrow for the week. And then next week is a new week. So we'll see if something heats up. The inflation data was, 8.5%. So I'm sure the market's going to be going a little bit choppy. Who knows if we're going to go through a recession or if we're going to keep going. I have no idea, but it's just going through some sideways action. But it seems like the small caps has been still having opportunity on a revolving basis, even in a bear market. So I'm not too worried about not finding opportunity because they've been coming every day. Here we'll see VERU may make a move, so I'll keep an eye on that. I'm not going to trade it anymore, but tomorrow could be some good opportunity on it. So that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another day trading recap. All right, peace.